In the old Polynesian tellings, the islands were young and the sea was generous, but the sky was cruel in a particular way. The sun crossed too quickly. By the time fishermen mended nets and women pounded taro, the light was already leaning toward night. Crops did not finish ripening. Children learned to run before they learned to laugh slowly. People said the sun was proud. They said it raced because it did not respect the work of human hands. Whether that is true or only how hunger explains a burning god, the result was the same. Days that snapped shut like baskets. This is the tale of Maui, who was small in some stories and enormous in others, who stole fire and lifted islands, and once, in the boldest telling, decided the sun itself would learn manners. It is not a tale about winning a fight. It is a tale about changing the rhythm of the world so ordinary life could survive. Across the Pacific, the story wears many island names, but the problem is always the same. A world too bright and too brief for the work of staying alive. Maui was raised by his grandmother Hina in a house of woven leaves and patient smoke. She was famous for many things, among them the finest kapa cloth in the district and a temper that did not suffer laziness dressed as cleverness. When Maui came home boasting that he had caught a cloud, she asked whether the cloud fed anyone. When he came home late, she asked whether the stars had chores for him. Still, she loved him in the fierce way elders love those who will either save the people or ruin a perfectly good afternoon. She taught him to read the sea by color and to respect sharks not because they are evil, but because they are honest. She told him the sun had not always been so fast, that in the first days it lingered like a guest who understood hospitality. Maui listened. He also counted. He counted how little time farmers had, how many nets rotted unfinished, how often Hina's own cloth could not dry before rain arrived. He began to think the sky was not a god problem, but a rope problem. He made a fishing hook from a jawbone in other tales and pulled islands from the sea like fish. Here his hook is only memory, because this story is about the sky, not the shore. Still, the hook reminds us, Maui does not argue with the world. He rigs it. At a gathering where the village complained in the polite way villages do, Maui stood and said what others had only whispered. The sun must be slowed. Old men laughed. Young men stared. A priest of the district warned that gods do not accept advice from boys who still eat with their fingers. Maui answered that gods who starve their worshippers are poor gods. That was impious and memorable. Hina did not stop him. She only said, "If you go, go with preparation, not with theater. Theater is for sharks." Maui vowed he would climb to the place where the sun rests at dawn and force it to cross the sky at a pace fit for human beings. He asked who would go with him. In some tellings, his brothers refused and mocked him. In others, they came because mockery is easier than staying home with fear. In every telling, Maui went anyway, because the vow had already become a part of his bones. That night, the village fed him taro and silence. Silence is sometimes consent. Sometimes it is fear wearing good manners. Maui ate both and slept 1 hour, because dawn on the mountain waits for no one. No ordinary cord would hold a star. Maui gathered the strongest fibers on the island. Coconut husk beaten and twisted, sinnet braided until the rope sang under tension. Bone hooks and hardwood toggles tested on reef stone. Hina added prayers that were not poetry, but instructions. Do not look directly at the face of fire. Do not boast when the rope holds. Do not let go when the heat speaks. For nights he worked while the village slept. Sweat and smoke made his arms shine. His brothers, when they came, were set to beating fiber until their palms blistered. Maui braided the last length himself and laid the coil in the canoe like a sleeping serpent. Before dawn, he walked the beach alone. The horizon was a thin line. He told the sea he would return. The sea, being the sea, answered with both salt and indifference, which is also a kind of blessing. The coil was heavier than a man, heavier than pride. 2 brothers helped him carry it to the climb. They joked to keep their teeth from chattering. Maui did not joke. He had heard the sun moving under the earth, a slow grinding, like canoes dragged over coral. They climbed where the island thinned into cloud and the cloud thinned into a road not made for feet. In some tellings, the path is a vine. In others, it is a rainbow gone hard. Maui led with the rope over his shoulder and a fishhook at his belt, because habit is stronger than ceremony. Heat increased. Air tasted of iron. His brothers fell behind, then fell out of the telling entirely, because courage is often a group project until it is not. Maui kept climbing. The sun was already stirring, a bright pulse behind the lids of the world. He reached a plateau where stone glowed like embers under ash. There the sun rose as a person in the oldest stories. Broad shoulders, burning eyes, a face that could not imagine being opposed. Maui crouched behind a ridge and waited for pride to do what pride always does, which is arrive loudly. Maui tasted copper. He told himself the pain in his lungs was temporary. Every hero lies in that sentence. The difference is whether the lie serves a village. When the sun lifted from its resting place, Maui cast the rope. The first throw was too proud and missed. The second caught the ankle of Light, or the arm, or the neck, depending on who tells it, but caught it surely. The sun roared. The sky turned white. Maui was dragged across stone, heels scoring fire, yet he wrapped the rope around a basalt tooth and held. The battle was not swordplay. It was wrestling with radiance. Maui's skin blistered. His hair smoked. He set his feet and pulled as fishermen pull when the sea decides to test character. The sun pulled back, not used to resistance. In the worst heat, Maui remembered Hina's cloth drying too late. He remembered children running. He remembered the vow and pulled harder. The rope sang. The world between island and sky became a single strained note. Below him, through breaks in cloud, he saw his island as a small green leaf. That sight is useful. It keeps a demigod from believing he is the center of the sea. He held anyway. When the sun could not shake free without tearing the sky, it spoke. Not kindly. Gods speak as storms speak, with heat still in the voice. Maui did not ask for worship. He asked for time. Long days for planting. Long days for drying kapa. Long days for nets and stories and the slow work of being human. The sun bargained. It would travel more slowly across the ocean of heaven if Maui released it before noon in the summer months. If Maui told the people never to stare as punishment, if the rope was burned and never woven again. Maui agreed to what he could agree to. He cut the rope. Light spilled across the world like water finally released from a dam. His brothers, where they still existed in the story, cheered from far below. Hina, far below that, lifted her face and felt a day that had room in it. Afterward, the sun did not become gentle. It became measurable. Farmers finished fields, cloth dried. Fishers mended nets in gold light that reached the heel of afternoon. Children learned to walk without hurrying. The islands did not become paradise because no island is, but they became possible. Maui came down from the heights burned and grinning and older in the eyes. He stole other things in other tellings. Fire, islands, secrets from the underworld. This telling keeps only the rope and the rhythm. Remember that some victories are not about killing a monster, but about teaching a power to respect the small schedules of mortal hands. If you remember anything, remember the coil on the beach at dawn and the note the rope sang. Remember that the sky can be negotiated by those who prepare. This was Forgotten Fables. This was Maui and the sun. Follow the channel when you want the next country, the next age, the next story the loud world forgot.